Hey everyone, welcome to SFDC Stock. So in the previous video, we discussed about a real world problem statement for the problem find a lead manager, right? So in this video, we are going to focus on the solution. So I told you in the previous video that we are going to implement this method get lead manager, which is going to accept two employee IDs, first employee ID and second employee ID, and it is going to return the ID of the lead manager, right? So let's see what we need to do for this. In this video, we are mainly going to focus on how we can construct a tree of employee IDs so that we can find the lead manager out of those employees. So let's see, in order to construct a tree, what should be the first step? The first step is to find out the topmost employee in the employee records that we have inside Salesforce. So I already told you earlier that I have an employee object that is there in Salesforce. It has a manager field as well. And in case I want to find out the topmost employee in the hierarchy. So let me just quickly construct a hierarchy here. For example, let's say here is E1 and I have two employees reporting to him. And then I have here E2 and E3. Okay. And I have further more employees reporting to them. Okay. So in order to find the topmost employee, what is the main thing that we can understand? We can understand that this employee will not have any kind of manager, right? Because let's say he is the CEO of the company, so he is not reporting to anyone. So we can simply find out the topmost employee by using a query which says select ID from employee where manager is equal to null. So I hope this thing is clear. Now let's move ahead. So after that, what we need to do, we need to find out all the employees that are present in Salesforce so that we can construct a tree, right? So we need to query all the employees. Now let's see how we can query all employees and what is this query all about. So I'm just going to move on to my VS Code. So this is the method that we are talking about, get lead manager. It is going to receive two employee IDs, first employee ID and second employee ID, and it is finally going to return the ID of the lead manager, right? What we did till now, we first of all queried the topmost employee, which is nothing but the employee which is having manager field as null. And we also initialized two variables here, lead manager ID and binary tree. So lead manager ID is nothing, the ID of the lead manager which will be returned, and binary tree is nothing but a instance of binary tree class. Okay. So let's just check what we need to do after this. After this, we are first of all checking if top employee is not equal to null, because in case I can construct a binary tree, then only I am going to proceed further. Otherwise, I am simply going to return the lead manager ID because I cannot construct a binary tree. Because in order to construct a binary tree, you have to find an employee who is not reporting to anyone, right? Whose manager field is going to be null. In case you cannot find an employee, that means you cannot have any employee who can be the root of the tree. So in that case, you are simply going to say that I cannot find the lead manager ID because I am not able to form a tree. So in that case, lead manager ID will be returned and this is by default null. So we are going to return null from here. Now let's see what if we find a top employee, what we are going to do. So in case we find a top employee, first of all, we need to get a top employee ID, which is nothing but top employee.id. So I mean, it is just extracting the ID of that top employee and storing it in a variable. Then I'm querying all the employees map that are present in the system. So what I'm doing here, I'm querying all the employees and storing them in a map. And this map will be something like this. So let's say I have 5 employees here. Let's consider some employees as well. 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and then 5, and then 6. So let's say these are the employee IDs. I mean, in reality, the employee IDs will be something like 001, A, B, C, you know, I mean, 18 and 15 digit Salesforce IDs that we have. But for now, let's consider these are the employee IDs. And I can say that 2 is having a manager as 1, 3 is also having a manager as 1, 4 is having a manager as 3, and let's say 5 is having a manager as 4, and let's say 6 is having a manager as also 4. Okay, so this is what we have in Salesforce. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a table here because this is a map, and in map we have first of all the ID, and here we have the employee record. So for ID number 1, I'm going to have employee record for employee 1, which is nothing but a record in which I have the ID of the employee. So I'm querying the ID of the employee and all the other employees that are reporting to this particular employee. Okay. So first of all, I have the ID of the employee, which is 1, and we have all the employees that are reporting to this employee. So let's say number 2 and number 3 employees are reporting to 1, right? So I can say that I have 2 employees here. This is employee number 2 and this is employee number 3 that are reporting to this particular employee. For each employee, I'm going to have a list as well, which is nothing but a list of employees along with their IDs like this, which are reporting to the current employee, okay, that we have. Similarly, I'm going to have employee number 2 here as well, although 2 is coming as a child as well, but it is going to be queried from here as well because we are querying all the employees here. For 2, we will have that what are the employees that are reporting to employee number 2. So if we see employee number 2 here, we can see that none of the employees are reporting to employee number 2. So that means it is also going to have an employee record with an ID as 2, but the list will not be there because none of the employees are reporting. Next, we have employee number 3. It is also going to have an employee record. Let me just show it here. So it will be employee number 3. The ID will be 3. and the employees that are reporting to 3, only 4 is reporting to 3, right? So I'm only going to have one entry here, which is for employee number 4 that is reporting to 3. So after that, I'm going to have some more entries here. Let's say we have entry for employee number 4, we have entry for employee number 5 and employee number 6, right? For employee number 4, I'm going to have entry here, which is for employee number 4. And if we see 5 and 6, both are reporting to 4, right? So I'm going to have two entries here. Employee number 5 is reporting to 4 and employee number 6 is also reporting to 4. So that's how the data is stored. For 5 and 6, again, we are going to have employee records. So 5 is also going to have employee record, 6 is also going to have employee record. So let's say we have 6 here and we have 5 here. And for 5 and 6, I'm not going to have any employees that are reporting, because none of the employees reporting to 5 and none of the employees reporting to 6 as well. So I can say this is blank. So no list is present here. Okay. So that's how the records are being queried, and this is the employee map that we are talking about. So this is nothing but employee map. Okay. Now let's see how can we construct a binary tree using this employee map. So what we are doing here, first of all, we are having a set named as tree element. So I'm just going to clear this off so that we can proceed further. But this is how the employees are stored. I hope you understood this thing, that how the employees are being stored. So I'm just going to clear it and then we can proceed forward. Yeah, let's see. First of all, we have a set of tree elements. So I'm just going to create a set here quickly, and this is nothing but tree elements. Okay. Next, we have a list of ID, which is ID queue, and this is not going to be a list. This is going to be a queue basically. Although it's a list data structure, but we are going to use it as a queue. So let's say we have a queue here. Okay. And the name is ID queue. Next, we have a ID compare class. So let's just quickly discuss this ID compare class as well. So if you remember the previous tutorials where we discussed how can we insert a node in a binary tree based on the parent node. We discussed about a comparator class and we discussed about an integer compare class as well. Okay. In case you are not aware, I can simply brief you that here I want to insert employees in a binary tree based on the value of parent employee, right? Or I can say based on the value of manager. So what I need to do, first of all, I need to insert the manager record in the binary tree, and then I need to insert the record of those employees who are reporting to these manager, right? So let's say E2 and E3. Now let's say I have a binary tree like this and I know that E4 is reporting to E2. So first of all, I need to find out E2, right? Because I need to insert E4 below E2. So I'm going to check, is this equal to E1? Sorry, is this equal to E2? Is this equal to E2? Is this equal to E2? Then I'm going to find out, okay, this equal to E2, and then I'm going to insert E4 below E2. So the thing that I'm trying to explain here is that we need to find out a node by comparing its value, because we need to find out the parent node by comparing its value. Then only I can insert a new node based on the parent node, right? So for that comparison, we have a comparator class, which is nothing but an abstract class with a method defined. And this method is known as the compare method, which is having two objects, O1 and O2. And here I'm inserting, I'm creating a tree of employees and I'm going to use employee IDs. That's why I'm typecasting these objects into IDs, and then I'm comparing them to return true in case the IDs are equal, and it will return false in case the IDs are not equal. So that's what I'm doing here. What I'm doing, I'm just comparing two employee IDs in my binary tree so that I can find out the parent node. Because let's say I want to find E2, so it is having an ID as 2. So I'm going to check that, okay, I know that employee number 4 is going to report to employee number 2. So I need to check that is this ID equal to 2? Is this ID equal to 2? So I'm going to pass in two IDs here, right? So in case this ID is equal to 2, that means this is the correct node. So I'm going to simply insert a new node below this. So that's how this comparator class is being used, and the name of the class is ID compare. So I created a set of tree elements, I created a ID queue, and I created a ID compare instance as well. So what I have done here, I have also constructed a table so that it's easier for us to understand how we can construct a binary tree using the employee IDs. And it's a similar employee map that we queried above. So it is a similar employee map that we discussed above, that I have the ID of the employees and I have also the employees that are reporting to this particular employee. Okay. First of all, what I'm doing, I'm inserting the top employee ID in the ID queue. So in my case, the top employee ID is going to be 1. Okay. Let's consider this as the top employee ID because this is the ID of the topmost employee who is reporting to no one. So I have the top employee ID and I'm going to insert it in a queue. So I can insert it in a queue right here. After that, I'm going to insert this top employee ID in a tree as well using the insert data method. So in case you don't remember the insert data method, let me just show it to you quickly. This is the insert data method that we are talking about. So in this case, we need to pass in the data and we need to pass in the parent data as well and the comparator instance as well. So it automatically insert the object, or I can say it automatically insert a node with the value data based on the parent data, or I can say below the node which is having a value as parent data. Okay. So let's go back, and yeah, so here we need to insert top employee ID node below a node which is having a value null. So it doesn't make sense to have a node with a value null. The simplest thing here is that if the parent data is null, that means this is the root node, right? So what we are going to do, we are going to create a node with a value 1 because this is the employee ID. So I'm going to execute a loop here, and this loop will continue until the ID queue is not empty. So until this queue is not empty, this loop is going to continue. Okay, so let me just scroll down, and yeah, let's see what we have in this particular loop. So in this loop, what we have, first of all, we are getting the first element from the queue and we are removing it from the queue. Okay, so let's say I removed 1 from the queue, and I have 1 stored in current employee ID. So let's say there is a variable named as current employee ID. So I'm just writing CID here, and I have 1 stored in this particular variable. Okay, then I'm going to check if tree elements dot contains current employee ID. So I'm checking that if tree elements doesn't contain current employee ID, here's a not. Okay, so I'm checking that if current employee ID is not present in this particular set, what I'm going to do, I'm going to move ahead and I'm going to add the current employee ID in this particular set. Okay, so I'm going to add 1 right here because current employee ID is 1. Then I'm going to find out what are the child employees that are reporting to this particular employee. So if you see here, I'm doing employees map.get current employee ID, which will give me this particular record. So doing this will give me this record. Okay, this first record, and then I'm getting all the employees that are reporting to the current employee using this record. So I'm going to get the values 2 and 3. And I'm using the child relationship name here, employees underscore underscore R. So what I'm doing, I'm using the child relationship name here, employees underscore underscore R, to refer to this particular list. So just in case you're not aware of what is the child relationship, we use it here as well. So whenever we are querying child records from a parent record, we have to use the child relationship name, and it is given at a place where we are defining the lookup. So let me just show it to you quickly. So this is the Salesforce org, and if I show it to you, here is the employee object, and this is the object employee underscore underscore C. And if I go to field and relationship, we can see that we have a manager field here, which is nothing but manager underscore underscore C. It is having a lookup. Okay, and if I go to this manager field, let me just open it, and here we can see that in this manager field we have the child relationship name as employees. So this is the child relationship name, which is nothing but employees. Okay, so that's how, I mean, whenever we have to query the child record from the parent record, we have to use the child relationship name followed by underscore underscore R, because it is a relationship name, right? So employees underscore underscore R, that's what I'm going to use to query the child employee records based on the parent employee record. And I'm using the same thing here, employees underscore underscore R, whenever I need to refer to child employees, which is nothing but a list of employees that are reporting to the current employee. So first of all, we are talking about 1, and we are getting employee 2 and 3 from here. Then I'm checking if this child employees is not equal to null and child employees is not empty. What I'm going to do, I'm going to loop in this child employees records 1 by 1, and I'm going to add child employee ID to the ID queue, and also I'm going to insert this child employee ID to the tree. So let's say I am talking about employee number 1. It is having 2 and 3 as child employee records who are reporting to him. So I'm going to add 2 to the queue, and after that I'm going to insert 2 in my tree. So 2 will be inserted as a child of 1, because if you see here, the first parameter is child employee.id, which is going to be 2, and second is current employee ID, which is going to be 1, because as of now the current employee ID is 1. Okay, so 2 will be inserted here, and similarly I'm going to consider 3 as well. I'm going to add 3 to the queue, and 3 also will be inserted here. Okay, so 2 and 3 are inserted. So once 2 and 3 are inserted, we are going back to our while loop, and we are going to check if queue is not empty. Yes, queue is not empty. I'm going to pop the first element from the queue. So I'm going to remove 2 from the queue. Then I'm going to check if 2 is under the tree elements set. So 2 is not under tree element set. I'm going to add it here, and then I'm going to check that if we have any child employees that are related to 2. So yes, I have one child employee which is 4 that is related to 2. So I'm going to add it to the queue, 4 here, and I'm also going to add it to the tree, 4 here. Okay, after that again I'm going to check if queue is not empty, that is true. I'm going to pop 3. So the current employee ID will be 3. It will be 3 in this particular case. Then I'm going to check if this already exists in the set. So it is not. So I'm going to add it to the set. Then I'm going to check that are there any child employees that are reporting to 3? Yes, there are 5 and 6. So I'm going to loop them one by one. So first of all, I'm going to add 5 to the queue. So 5 will be added to the queue like this, and 5 will also be added as a child of 3. Similarly, 6 will be added to the queue right here, and 6 will also be added as a child of 3. Okay, and then I'm going to check whether the queue is not empty. So queue is not empty. Again, I'm going to pop 4. So the current employee ID will be 4, and then I'm going to check if it exists in the set or not. So it doesn't exist in the set, so I'm going to add it. So why I'm using this set? The reason for this is because I don't want to process employees more than once. Although that's a rare possibility that I'm processing employees more than once, but just to make sure that I'm not processing employees more than once. For example, let's say I have some problem in the lookups. Let's say 4 is reporting to 2 somehow, so 2 is also getting added to the queue again, and it is again processed, right? So that can be a possibility. So just to make sure that I'm not processing one employee more than once, and I don't have any kind of lookup which is creating a circular dependency in the tree, just to make sure that I'm using this tree element set. Okay, so 4 is also added to the tree element set using this particular statement. Then I'm going to check on the child employees of 4. So I don't have any child employees of 4. That means I'm not going to proceed further. So I'm not going to proceed further from here. I'm going to again check if queue is not empty. Yes, it is not empty. I'm going to pop 5. So this will be 5, and I'm going to add it to the set. So 5 will be added here, and then I'm going to check out the child. So there are no child of 5. That means this will not be executed. Again, I'm going to check if queue is not empty. So I'm popping 6 this time. So current employee ID will be 6. Then I'm going to add it to the set. So 6 will be added here. Then I'm going to check that are there any child employees of 6. So 6 also doesn't have any child employees. That means I don't have any node that is going to be below 6, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to again check if queue is not empty. So this time the queue is empty. Okay, so that means this loop is finished, and I have my binary tree perfectly created. Okay, I have my binary tree perfectly created here, where 2 and 3 are reporting to 1, 2 and 3 are reporting to 1, 4 is reporting to 2, 4 is reporting to 2, 5 and 6 are reporting to 3, 5 and 6 are reporting to 3. So simply what we are doing here, we are doing nothing. We are just traversing all employees one by one, and first of all we are adding parent to the tree, and then we are adding child nodes to the tree. And once these child nodes are added, then I'm checking out these child nodes. I have already added them to the tree. Then I'm adding the child nodes of these nodes to the tree. Okay, so that's how I'm constructing the tree one by one, and that's how it is happening. Okay, so I hope this thing is clear, that how I'm getting the child nodes from the map, and how I'm inserting their childs as well into the tree, because I'm using a map here where I'm passing the current employee ID that I'm getting from the queue, and using this employee ID I'm getting the employee record, and then I'm getting the childs that are reporting to this particular employee. Because I already have the current employee ID, that means it is already added to the tree, so I can add its child to the tree as well. So our tree is created. Now our main task is to find out a lead manager given the 2 employee IDs, right? So let me just clear this, and I'm going to scroll a little bit. This is the main method, which is finding the lowest common ancestor inside the tree. So in the next video, we are going to focus on this particular method, which is lowest common ancestor, and we'll see that if we are given 2 employee IDs, for example, ID of 4 and 6, how can we find the lowest common ancestor given any 2 nodes in the tree? Okay, so this is all a tree problem, that if you are given 2 nodes, you have to find the lowest common ancestor inside a tree for that particular node. For example, if I talk about Allik and Monica here, let me just, yeah. So let's say I talk about Allik and Monica here, then the lowest common ancestor in this tree of Allik and Monica is going to be Dinesh, and the lead manager is also going to be Dinesh, right? If I am talking about Allik and Gavin, so in that case, the lowest common ancestor, that is the lowest node that I can reach out to from both these nodes, is Richard, right? So that means he is the lowest common ancestor, and if we see, he is also the lead manager, because he is the lowest employee who is present in the hierarchy that can approve the request of both the nodes or both the employees, right? So now this is our main problem. We have to find the lowest common ancestor inside the tree given 2 employee IDs, or I can say given the value of 2 nodes, I need to find the lowest common ancestor node. And once I have the lowest common ancestor node, the rest of the things are simple. I'm simply going to check that if lowest common ancestor node is not equal to null, I'm simply going to get the data from this node, which is going to be the ID of the lead manager, and I'm going to return this lead manager ID. So the rest of the things are fairly simple, because in case I'm able to find the lowest common ancestor node, I can get a lead manager ID, and that lead manager ID will be returned back, and my problem is solved. So now the whole problem is mainly focused on finding the lowest common ancestor. So that's what I need to solve, and we'll see the solution in the next video. And I hope you understood how we are constructing a binary tree by picking employees one by one and their children as well, because this is also an important part, how you're querying employees in a way that you can construct a binary tree by adding the parent nodes first and then adding the child nodes. So I hope constructing the binary tree is clear to you. So in the next video, we are going to learn how we can find the lowest common ancestor of any two nodes that are in the binary tree. So that's all for this tutorial, everyone. I hope you understood the concept, and I'll see you in the next video. Till then, have a good day. Bye bye.